Piano boy. My neighbor, Ethan, was a piano prodigy. Awards piled up before he even turned
16.
But then he met Sarah, a girl from my
Class.
He let her sit, giggling, on his beloved Steinway while she kissed him. For her, he ditched practice, trashed the piano, and spiraled. So I told his parents. Ethan was shipped off to a music
Conservatory in Austria.
Years later, he became a huge success, a shining star in the entertainment industry.
And me?
I landed an internship at his company, hoping to break into the music scene myself. He barely glanced up, pointed at me, and said, "Her." That night, my manager got me drunk and delivered me to the hotel rooms of various investors. Ethan stood in the doorway, a cigarette dangling from his lips, a smirk playing on his face. "Consider this a thank you for your little tip off all those years ago." I didn't survive that night. The assault was brutal. I woke up back in my junior year of high school before any of it happened. Wouldn't it be awesome to bring a guy like that down a peg or two? Sarah, my best friend, mused, chin resting in her hand.
He's got such a serious look about him.
Wonder what he's like to kiss. Across the street, silhouetted against the window, sat Ethan, all of 18 years old. My breath hitched. I looked at Sarah, that same look of predatory amusement in her. Eves like she was about to bag herself. Eyes like she was about to bag herself a
prize.
Back then, I'd thought she was all talk. Then, that very night, I'd seen her perched on his piano, kissing him. I was back. I slammed the window shut, my heart pounding against my ribs. "I need to study," I said, trying to sound normal.
"You
should probably head home." Sarah pouted. "Aren't you curious? I thought you had a crush on him." My stomach twisted. 17-year-old me had made two monumental mistakes. Crushing hard on Ethan without ever saying a word, and then ratting him out for dating
Sarah.
He'd hated me for it, for 6 long years. Hated me enough to destroy me as payback. The memory of that freezing night flooded back. I clenched my fists, biting my lip hard, enough to draw blood. "No," I said, my voice steady. "I've never had a crush on him." Sarah grinned, a sly, knowing look in her
eyes. "Good.
'Cause Ethan and I are kinda a thing now. Didn't want to, freak you out or anything." Deja vu. Sarah was playing her usual games. She was infamous for it. Every cute guy in school had been through the Sarah cycle. She was loud, rebellious, everything a good girl wasn't supposed to be, but that kind of girl had a pull on guys like Ethan, the quiet rule following type. I remembered my dying moments, my hand scarred with cigarette burns, clutching at Ethan's crisp white shirt. "Even if you hate me," I'd choked out, "you shouldn't do this." He'd looked down at me, a cruel twist to his lips. "And how should I deal with it, Quinn? If it wasn't for you, Sarah wouldn't have married that loser, wouldn't have died in childbirth. Why should she be dead, and you get to live?" "It's not fair, Quinn." Because of my interference, Ethan had been forced abroad. Sarah, her dreams of art, school dashed by the pregnancy, had married some deadbeat who quickly abandoned her. She died alone in a back alley clinic. Ethan blamed me. He believed that if I hadn't interfered, none of it would have happened. I looked down. "That's great. I wish you both the best." Sarah gave me a strange look and then shrugged it off. The days crawled by. Ethan and Sarah's relationship played out like a bad teen movie. Secret dates, matching tattoos, stolen kisses. On the Ferris wheel, late night motorcycle rides. They were so wrapped up in each other, they forgot they were supposed to be students. I watched it all unfold, a silent observer, focused on my studies. I'd switched from the arts program back to the academic track. No more chasing Ethan's shadow. It was a tough road, but I was determined to make it work. Then one day, I overheard Sarah bragging. Ethan's such a dork. Clueless. If it weren't for the whole piano prodigy thing, the fame, who'd want him? Girl, please, another girl scoffed. He's way out of your league. He's probably just playing you. No way, Sarah insisted. I have him wrapped around my little finger. I say jump, he says how high. I heard he's got a big piano competition coming up. Make him skip it, then we'll talk. Someone challenged. Easy, Sarah smirked. Just watch. I froze. I know exactly how important that. I froze. I knew exactly how important that competition was. First place meant a full scholarship to the Vienna Conservatory. I knew because it was the same competition he'd missed in my past life. Back then, convinced Sarah was using him, I'd tried to warn Ethan. He'd just dismissed me as jealous and spiteful. Finally, I'd gone to his parents. It had blown up spectacularly. They'd been forced to break up, and Ethan, distraught, hadn't placed in the competition. He still got to Vienna, but the scholarship was gone. And he never forgave me. Sarah turned to me, a glint in her eye. You wouldn't tell, would you, Quinn? I looked down at my textbook. No, I said, quietly. I won't. This time, I would stay without interference. I didn't see Ethan again until he showed up at my front door, drunk and bleeding. Shattered. Beer bottles littered the porch. It was the first time I'd been face to face with him since coming back. The bile rose in my throat. He scrambled to his feet, eyes red-rimmed. Quinn, you and Sarah are friends, right? Can you call her? She wants to break up. I can't live without her. She says I'm boring, that I spend too much time with my piano. I'll quit. The piano's nothing compared to her. Please help me. I'm desperate. I love her. I'll do anything. I looked at him, the golden boy stripped bare. His long, elegant fingers, the fingers he cherished, were dripping blood. He didn't seem to notice. The Ethan I'd had a crush on was long gone. Some first loves are better left in the past. I pulled out my phone and called Sarah. Sarah, Ethan's here. He's upset. Can you come over? He stood beside me, listening, hope flickering in his eyes. Sarah's voice, laced with amusement, drifted from the phone speaker. Ask him if he'd really do anything for me. Ethan's voice cracked. Anything. Tell him to skip the competition. The line went dead. Ethan stood there, stunned. I watched him, wondering what he would choose. His dream, or Sarah. He hung his head. Is that the only way to prove how much she means to me? He wasn't asking me, but I knew he already had his answer. I just watched him walk away, defeated. Ethan missed the competition. He'd hurt his hand, he said. He and Sarah were back together, sickeningly sweet. I saw them walking home. Light was back in Ethan's eyes, focused solely on the girl beside him. She was smoking, blowing smoke in his face, and he just laughed, pulling her close and kissing her. Then, arm in arm, they disappeared into the local pool hall, joining a group of rough-looking older kids. I sighed and turned away. I didn't see Ethan again until his mother showed up at school. Mrs. Miller, a high school teacher herself, was usually the picture of composure. She'd helped me with my math homework when I was younger, telling me I was a bright girl. Ethan's family wasn't rich. His dad worked a factory job. They'd sacrificed everything for his music, and he'd been so close to making it. Now Mrs. Miller's face was contorted with rage. In front of the entire class, she slapped Sarah across the face, leaving a bright red handprint. Sarah recoiled, shocked. What the hell, lady? Mrs. Miller's voice dripped with contempt. You little hussy. You've been leading my son astray. You've ruined his future. Do you have any idea what we've invested in him? The years of work, the sacrifices? And you've thrown it all
Away.
You made him miss that competition. Sarah's face paled. Made him? He begged me to be with him. He wanted to skip the competition. It wasn't me. I didn't force him. Mrs. Miller lunged, grabbing Sarah's hair. Someone ran to get Ethan. He burst into the room and pushed his mother away, shielding Sarah with his body.
Mom, stop it.
Hit me, not her. I skipped the competition.
It was my choice.
Mrs. Miller stared at him, dumbfounded. Her perfect, obedient son, defying her for this
Girl.
She trembled with fury. She slapped Ethan. Then her eyes scanned the room, landing on me. Of all the girls, why her? Why not someone decent, like Quinn?
Are you
Trying to kill me, Ethan? My jaw dropped. This hadn't happened
before?
in my past life. Mrs. Miller had handled things quietly, discreetly. No public showdowns. Every eye in the room was on me. Sarah's eyes narrowed.
Quinn.
You snitched.
I
Thought you were my friend. Ethan turned to me, his lips set in a thin, hard
line.
The look in his eyes was terrifying. I held up my hands. It wasn't me.
I didn't say
Anything. I don't want to be involved in your drama. If you're going to fight, please take it outside. Some of us are trying to study. Turned to Mrs. Miller. And please tell them it wasn't me. Sarah didn't believe me. Luckily, Ethan's homeroom teacher arrived and pulled Mrs. Miller aside. If Ms. Davies hadn't told me, Mrs. Miller was saying.
So it was the
Homeroom teacher who'd told his mom. I was off the hook. The fallout was epic. Everyone was talking about it. High school relationships imploded all the time, sometimes with parental intervention, but it usually ended with a tearful breakup and awkward avoidance in the hallways. Occasionally, someone transferred schools. Sarah focused on her art portfolio and, convinced she could charm her way into any college, refused to transfer. She'd been wronged, humiliated. Ethan, convinced he was the one who'd caused her pain, went on a hunger strike. He trashed his Steinway, defying his parents at every turn. I didn't see him again for weeks. Then one night, I heard the familiar sound of the piano. It had been silent since he and Sarah had gotten together. The music stopped abruptly. Minutes later, an ambulance wailed down the street. My parents rushed out to see if they
could help.
Mr. and Mrs. Miller came, stumbling out of the house, carrying Ethan. His right hand, his piano hand, was covered in blood, soaking through his white shirt.
As they
passed, he looked at me, a strange triumph in his eyes. This life, he whispered, I live for.
Sarah.
Don't get in my way, Quinn. You know what will happen. I stood frozen, like I'd been hit by a stun gun. Ethan's fingers were shattered. Even with surgery, he'd never play like he used to. His parents, defeated, finally gave in and let them be together. Ethan didn't seem to care. He said it was proof of his love for Sarah, a testament to his youth. But I knew what he was throwing away. The music he could make. The sold-out concerts, the adoring crowds, it was all
gone.
They were officially a couple now. I heard whispers of breakups and makeups, of Sarah demanding expensive gifts, of Ethan's parents cutting him off financially.
They'd
moved in together, living off the prize money Ethan had won over the years. I tuned it all out, burying myself in my studies. It wasn't easy, switching tracks, but I managed to pull off decent grades, enough to get me into a good college. Ethan, with his injured hand and his neglected studies, barely scraped by. After graduation, we had a class dinner. Sarah and Ethan showed up. She was dressed To the nines, all designer labels and perfectly coiffed hair, looking way older than her years. Ethan wore his usual white shirt. The teachers left early, leaving us to our own devices. The post-graduation confessions began. One of my friends, glancing at Sarah, muttered, "Look at her, dressed like she's, well, you know. All that designer stuff can't hide the trashy vibe." Sarah, who never missed a beat, shot back, "Jealous much? At least I have a boyfriend. Unlike some people who resort to sneaky little tactics." She glared at me. She still blamed me for telling his parents, even though I'd told her it wasn't me. They were hardly discreet, though. Everyone knew. My friend bristled. "Honey, you're the only one who thinks Ethan's a prize. Especially now that he can't even play the piano anymore." Sarah wrapped her arm around Ethan's. "So, what? He's got the looks. He can make a killing in Hollywood. You nerds will be working dead and jobs while he's raking in the dough." She turned to Ethan, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "Kiss me, Ethan." He glanced at me, a flicker of something in his eyes. "Not here, Sarah." "What?" "You're all over me when it's just us, but now that Quinn's here, you're too shy." Ethan frowned. Before he could respond, I stood up. "Sarah, this is a class dinner, not your bedroom. If you want to make out, go somewhere else and leave me out of it." I turned to leave, but Sarah blocked my path. "Don't think I don't know about your little crush, Quinn. I saw those love letters you wrote to Ethan hidden under your desk. Don't play innocent." So, she'd known all along. She'd snatched him away, knowing I liked him. This time, though I wasn't 17 anymore. Having a crush isn't a crime, Sarah. Unlike you, I didn't sabotage anyone's life, including my own. I've got nothing to be ashamed of. I record, not everyone thinks Ethan's such a catch. Ethan was watching me, a strange expression on his face. I walked out, leaving them to their drama. Outside, waiting for a cab, the cool night air cleared my head. I heard footsteps behind me. It was Ethan. "Don't listen to Sarah," he said. She doesn't mean what she says. She's just blunt." I looked down at the pavement, the streetlights casting long shadows. "Are you happy, Ethan? Are you happy with Sarah?" His eyes narrowed. He exhaled slowly. "You're back too, aren't you?" I'd known he was back since the night he'd cut his hand. Now, both of us carried the weight of our past lives. Before, I was the only one. I could bury my resentment, move on. But now... "Don't worry, Ethan," I said. "I won't interfere. This time, I wouldn't have done what I did if I'd known how much you'd hate me for it. But what's done is done." I looked at him, his silver hair, the lines around his eyes so different from the boy I remembered, and even from the hardened, cynical man he'd become in my past life. "I'm sorry about what I did to you, Quinn," he mumbled, "but please don't blame Sarah for any of this. It wasn't her fault." "It's over, Ethan." I cut him off. "I don't want to rehash the past. You and Sarah have nothing to do with me anymore. Goodbye, Ethan. Or perhaps good riddance." I'd thought his apology was about what he'd done to me. It turned out he was just worried I'd go after Sarah. Sarah came storming out of the restaurant. "Ethan, what the hell are you doing talking to that bitch? Tired of me already? After everything I've given up for you?" Her voice rose hysterically. "I flunked my auditions. Because of you, my career is ruined. And you're screwing around behind my back? You have no idea I'm pregnant." "Pregnant?" I stared at them, my mind reeling. Just then, a cab pulled up. I jumped inside, praying Sarah wouldn't do something drastic and that I wouldn't end up back in Ethan's crosshairs. Later, I heard the whole story. Sarah had found out she was pregnant and wanted an abortion. Ethan, remembering her death in my past life, had refused. Typical Ethan. He had to fix everything, control everything, even Sarah's body. The rest of the story unfolded with predictable melodrama. Ethan and Sarah got married, not legally, they were too young. Ethan got a job teaching piano to toddlers. Sarah spent his meager earnings. Then she left, running off with some rich guy, abandoning Ethan and their 4-month-old son. She resurfaced a few years later, demanding the child back. Turns out, the kid wasn't even Ethan's. She'd been with another guy all along. She'd run off to him, he'd gotten rich, and now they couldn't have kids of their own. Ethan went ballistic. The whole thing ended up in court, with Ethan getting arrested for assaulting Sarah, not seriously, thankfully, and losing custody of his son. The Millers had to sell their house to pay Sarah off. I heard all this secondhand, through the high school grapevine. It was a messy, pathetic Surovi grapevine. It was a messy, Palmenic saga, but it had nothing to do with me. I went to college, built a successful career, made my parents proud. They kept bugging me about getting married, settling down. "Are you still hung up on that Miller boy?" my dad asked one day. I hadn't heard Ethan's name in years. He hadn't become a famous musician. He'd vanished into obscurity. "Dad." I laughed. "What are you talking about?" "Just saying, heard he's in the city, started some small business. Doing pretty well, apparently." Ethan, with his memories of a future that never happened, would probably always land on his feet. "He's married with a kid, Dad. What do I care?" "Never mind. Your mother's calling me for dinner. Take care of yourself, honey." I hung up, a strange feeling settling in my gut. I ran into Ethan a few weeks later. A blind date. Fancy little restaurant. We'd met a few times. This guy, Jason. Nice guy, good job. Seemed genuinely interested.
He was already there when I arrived. "Cold out, huh?
"What can I get you?" "My friend owns this place. They make a killer latte." "Anything's fine," I said, my eyes scanning the room, landing on a piano tucked away in a corner. I walked over to it, a jolt of recognition running through me. There was a chipped piece of wood on the side, covered with a faded Doryman sticker. I remembered that sticker when I was 12 during a power outage. Ethan, the new kid next door, had kept me company, playing the piano all night long. I'd accidentally chipped his piano, and we'd covered it with a sticker. "Some first loves leave a mark. You play?" Jason asked. I shook my head, pressing a few keys. "No, but someone I used to know did. He was very good." Jason grinned. "Funny, my friend plays too." "Or he did. Injured his hand. I always told him, if it wasn't for that, he'd be a concert pianist." "Your friend?" "Yeah, the owner. Over there." I turned and saw him, standing by the bar, wearing a black shirt and an apron. He looked older, worn down, not like the boy I remembered, but a man weathered by life. He was limping. I realized he had a prosthetic leg. He didn't seem to recognize me. He walked over, greeting Jason. "Your girlfriend? Very pretty. You should have brought her around sooner." Jason blushed. "Don't embarrass me, man. Quinn hasn't said yes yet." Ethan looked at me, his eyes widening in recognition. "Quinn." "Ethan," I said, a small smile playing on my lips. "Long time no see." "You've changed," he said, searching my face. "I'm sure I look different than I did in high school," I replied dryly. Jason, sensing the awkwardness, excused himself to go to the restroom, leaving us alone. "So," Ethan said finally, how have you been?" "As you can see, I'm doing just fine." He nodded, glancing towards the restroom. "Jason's a good guy, Quinn. Honest, narrow-working, good Emily. He a treat you, right?" I chuckled, not bothering to respond. "Do you still play?" I asked. He looked up, surprised, then a wry smile touched his lips. "Sometimes. But you know, my hand I'll never be what I was. What about Sarah? Your son must be in elementary school by now. He was silent for a moment. We're divorced. He told me everything. The financial struggles, the mounting debt, Sarah's constant complaints, her eventual desertion. Broken leg, raising his son alone. He tried to sell his music, using his knowledge from the future, but it had backfired, landing him in legal trouble. His parents had offered to help, but only if he left Sarah. He'd refused. He'd finally opened the cafe, a fresh start. I listened, a mixture of pity and satisfaction, swirling within me. Jason returned, and our conversation ended. As I was leaving, Ethan stopped me. Do you still hate me? I turned to face him. Hate you? For what? For delivering me to those men? For watching me die? He winced. I was so twisted, Quinn. So arrogant. I blamed you for everything, for Sarah's death. I'm sorry. The apology, 8 years too late, meant nothing. I only have one question, Ethan, I said. What? You chose this life, the life with Sarah. Look where it got you. Do you regret it? He hesitated, but I already knew the answer. I saw Ethan again a few months later, when my parents were moving. I'd bought them a nice condo in the city. As the movers were packing up, I heard shouting coming from next door. Mr. and Mrs. Miller were fighting loudly. What's going on over there? I asked my
Mom.
Oh, you haven't heard? That girl, your classmate, the one who ran off and left Ethan with the baby? She came back. Why? I frowned. To take the kid. Turns out the kid isn't even Ethan's. She was seeing someone else the
Whole time.
She went back to him. He got rich, and now they can't have kids.
So she
Wanted hers back. My jaw dropped. The drama never ended. Ethan came home, found out the truth, went crazy, stabbed her. Not badly, thank God. But he's in jail now. The Millers had to sell their house to pay her off, to keep him out of
prison.
It was awful. He kept saying how he'd ruined his life for her, how he could have been a famous pianist. Life was strange. The movers were blocking the alleyway.
I saw
Ethan standing by the curb, smoking. I tried to avoid him, but he grabbed my arm. Quinn, he said, his voice hoarse. I regret it. All of it. This life, it's a disaster. I should have listened to you. I was so wrong about you. About everything. I think about what happened, what I did to you. I'm so sorry. Tears welled up in his
eyes.
If I could go back, if Sarah had, if she died. He was back. Again. Why didn't you stop me this time, Quinn? He pleaded. You always liked me, didn't you? I pulled my arm away. Don't flatter yourself.
Ethan.
This is the life you chose. You wouldn't have been happy, no matter what. People like you don't deserve happiness. I did like you once. The boy who played the piano for me that night during the power, I did like you once. The boy who played the piano for me that night during the power outage. Not this broken, pathetic man. He let go of my arm, his face crumpling. I walked away without looking back. Ethan killed himself that New Year's Eve. His parents found him the next morning. He left a note. Just one sentence. If only I could do it. All over again.
I don't know if he got his wish.
But I do know this. Someone as selfish as Ethan would never find happiness, no matter how many chances
he got.
Life is full of regrets. He just couldn't accept that his were his own fault.